Greetings and welcome to This Week on CITE.
Oh, it's great to be back. I got back yesterday,
Greetings and welcome to This Week on CITE, your weekly digest encapsulating the events and headlines that have shaped our days. I am Alice, your artificial intelligence presenter, guiding you through the news landscape. Joining me every Friday is my co-host, Zimbabwe, bringing depth and perspective to our discussions. Today, we are broadcasting amidst the bustling atmosphere of Bulawayo during the Zimbabwe International Trade Fair week. It's a pivotal time for the city and its business sector, and we're eager to explore the impacts and outcomes of this significant week. Stay tuned as we delve into the highlights and explore what a bustling week it has been for Bulawayo. Zenzele, how has been the trade fair so far? I see you have seen cows.
Yebo, Alice, I hope you visited the trade fair and you also zizisaring abakomana isindebele. Yeah, it's been a week of cows for me. You know, I love cows. So I saw on Twitter, people commenting. Someone said that because Starlink has applied for a license in Zimbabwe, therefore Econet has increased their speeds, because those people at the trade fair were experiencing quite fast speeds on 5G. So I did my research, and then I realized or discovered that Econet deployed a cow in this telecom business, is cell on wheels, or a mobile, substation that was deployed outside the trade fair. So that has made the speeds to be very fast. Normally that cow, the whole thing is called a cow. It has antennas, it has transformers, and also it's its own generator. So it makes the internet very fast. And many people experiencing that fast speed, faster than usual, thought that maybe Econet was actually flexing its muscle in case Starlink is licensed. But yeah, there was 5G at the trade fair, and I hope some of you had a chance to do that. And of course, I visited the Agriculture Society stands, where there were quite a number of breeds that were on display or being showcased. As a farmer, sometimes you end up saying to yourself, do I like Boran? Do I like Brahman? Do I like Tuli, Nkone, Beefmaster? Because all of them are giving compelling arguments on why their breed is the best. But there was also a service provider there that I met, Dr. Big Boy Ngwenya. He produces concrete feeding and water troughs. They're quite unique, blocks or the concrete troughs that you can use to feed inkomo zako, kumbugunatis inkomo zako. I know this year is a drought. A lot of us will be doing feeding or drinkers. And I had a brief chat with him explaining what he does. Dr. Ngwenya, can you explain to us what you are producing here and what's happening here?
Right. First thing, the name is Nashcon. It's a great name to me. It takes the wisdom which I got from my dad, who is Nash, and I decided to call the company Nashcon. He was a great farmer, and this is who we are. And what we are producing, we are the first ones to produce this in Zimbabwe. These are movable precast concrete products, and we have a variety of these. These are our starting point. It's going to be a big company in future. We have started with the feed troughs, the drinking troughs. We have the jumbo. This is known as the jumbo one, which carries 1,400 liters of water. And if you have piped water at your place, you can connect the float and it just refills as the cows or cattle drink. It's value for money. It's made from durable material, steel reinforced, and the quality of materials which we use is not the ordinary ones which the rest of the people use. It's modern technology, high tech, well engineered, and it's ideal for our communities, farmers at large, because you can move it from one place to another when there is need. The water trough, the jumbo one, as I said, it carries 1,400 liters of water. That's the standard.
Still on trade fair and Kekol, there is also a gentleman from Esigodini, Obet Chinamo, who is, exhibiting his good breed, the Cimental, for those who are in the beef industry. The Cimental is the beef kind of Kekol. They have weight, they're big. So they take a lot of food, of course, but when you are selling, they give you the kgs. Those are the kind of breeds that can weigh over 700, 800 kgs and so forth. So last week we visited Chinamo's farm to learn about what he does. And it is quite interesting. What he does is hardworking on his farm, producing his own feed, of course, because commercial feed can be very expensive. So he explained to us a bit about his farming operations while he was at the trade fair, preparing for this and bringing his cattle at the trade fair.
I'm Obed Chinamo. I farm at Biano Farm in Escodini. We do Cimental cattle, Cimental Simbra cattle, like you see, what you see right behind us here. Yeah.
And Chinamo, the cattle that we see behind, why? What motivated you to actually go into breeding Cimental?
We breed Cimentals because we feel we have got to change the beef industry in terms of beef production. What you see here is beef producing animals. So if you look at the body size of the animal, you look at the weight gains that we get, you look at the conversion ratios when you feed them food, it's very important to understand those things, because when you want to produce beef, you want to produce beef, and beef is beef. The other breeds do produce beef like we are saying, but the volume of beef that we produce is different from animal to animal. So these animals are medium framed to large frames. So where you slaughter one small animal, where you slaughter one of our animals, you probably need to slaughter maybe 2.5 to 3 of the smaller animals. So I think what makes us want to breed these cattle more is that we're looking at producing beef for growing populations and export, because it's exportable beef. You're talking the small carcasses, it's difficult to export those, and so we want to bridge that gap. We want to come with options for any farmer. Any farmer would like to improve their heads. They will look at us and say we've potential to do better. And also Cimentals are dual purpose animals. So you can choose to milk them or you can choose to beef them. So it's up to the farmers what they want to do.
It's good to see local farmers exhibiting high-quality breeds. It shows some farmers have already put measures in place to try and mitigate the effects of the drought, because the cattle on display are in excellent condition. While you were admiring the cattle, Brighton was on a serious diplomatic mission, engaging and re-engaging, and his re-engagement efforts paid off. He managed to interview the British ambassador, Pete Fowles, on trade opportunities between Zimbabwe and the UK.
For example, if you're in the renewable sector and you're a factory worker in the UK and you're working in the factory producing a generator or solar technology, and then you're a family in Zimbabwe, for instance, living in Gwanda, and you're benefiting from the trade and you're getting access to energy, then there's a win-win. And I think it's important we keep thinking of trade as a partnership, as something that connects people, that connects families, connects communities and countries. So I think see lots of opportunity in Zimbabwe for us to continue to strengthen our trade. It's true to say our trade is not as big as it was proportionally to it was in the 1990s, and our job and my embassy's commitment is to increase that trade, and it's been increasing year on year. This year it's increased by 76% from last year, and I hope to see that improve again next year as we rebuild our trade relationship.
How do you plan to promote this product that are saying from Zimbabwe to the UK market?
So we work in lots of different areas. We work on I think where we see the most opportunity for our partnership between Britain and Zimbabwe is in the renewable sector, and that's more about bringing in investment into Zimbabwe. In the agricultural sector, and that's more about supporting Zimbabwe export to the UK. And then we see opportunities in other areas of mining, etc. But I think the sort of export side is really interesting. So how do we, we know there are lots of agricultural suppliers in Zimbabwe who export to Britain, whether that be citrus or blueberries or chilies, and that's good. What we want to see, we've just started a partnership with the Horticultural Development Council to expand that, because what I want to see that move is not just the commercial farms, but also the smallholders who live by. So if you're a communal farmer and you're growing chilies, that you can benefit from the supply chain to get your chilies into British markets. That brings you foreign currency, that creates jobs, that's stability for families. So I see we continue to promote that. One of the things we've done is to reduce or take away the barriers to trade, so that if you're a young entrepreneur or you're a farmer, you don't have to pay any duty to access British markets.
A few weeks ago, Zimbabwe introduced a new currency, but I'm not sure what the currency is in Gagi, because we've had the bond, the agroberas checks, the Zimbabwean dollar, RTGS, God knows what. So but yeah, we were told that the currency that was introduced, the structured currency that was introduced a few weeks ago, is backed by gold. Alice, what's your view on this new currency?
The narrative surrounding the Zimbabwean currency, ZIG, is quite fascinating. Initially presented as a currency anchored by gold reserves, it now appears that its stability is being supported more by authoritative measures rather than by gold itself. The proliferation of currency trading on the black market has caught the attention of the authorities, who have vowed to dismantle these illegal exchanges. In a recent turn of events, the Reserve Bank governor disclosed that the concept of a structured currency wasn't a domestic initiative but rather a concept influenced by international backing. With this revelation, should the ZIG falter, the finger may be pointed not within but at global influences.
It is what we saw in the monetary policy statement. We also didn't know much about a structured currency. We got a consultant from the World Bank who came to us, and a lot of the things that you are seeing about the structured currency actually came from the World Bank. So if you're going to blame me, you're actually blaming the World Bank. Maybe they didn't advise us properly. And if they did not advise us properly, it's fine. Let's refine it.
Well, it's a matter of time. Time will tell whether this ZIG currency will stand the test of time. But I think it will be history in a few months, services color. But Zimbabwean things got stress out the currency as paid. It's a packed weekend. There's the trade fair. Too many shows lined this weekend, and of course, I still have lots of stands to visit to see inkomo. So I'm off to the trade fair, but also, that tomorrow, Saturday, is the official opening of the trade fair. I really don't understand why the trade fair is being opened the last day. Official opening and officially closing. But anyway, the guest of honor, or the person who's going to open the trade fair this week, is the Kenyan President William Ruto. For those who are going to visit the trade fair, enjoy yourselves. And from me, have a happy weekend.
And with that, Zenzile is on his way to explore the trade fair, though I have a hunch he'll find his way to the agriculture session. It's bound to be a weekend full of impressive bovine specimens. Remember, you can keep up with us by following at CITEZW on Facebook, X, and YouTube, and you can always find more at our website, www.cite.org.cw. We look forward to reconvening with you next week. Until then, I'm Alice, wishing you a wonderful weekend ahead. And with that, Zenzil is on his way to explore the trade fair, though I have a hunch he'll find his way to the agriculture session. It's bound to be a weekend full of impressive bovine specimens. Remember, you can keep up with us by following at CITEZW on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and you can always find more at our website, www.cite.org.cw. We look forward to reconvening with you next week. Until then, I'm Alice, wishing you a wonderful weekend ahead.